So, have you ever wondered how a company like Netflix or Amazon just seems to know what you want? How they manage this insane amount of information? Well, the magic behind all of that has a name: data engineering. And today, we are going to pull back the curtain on this super critical role in the tech world.
All right, to really get this, we're going to start with a simple, but honestly, a perfect analogy. You got to hear this. If data is water, then data engineers build the pipes. Just let that sink in for a second. We're talking about the architects, the plumbers of the entire information age. This one idea is going to be our guide through this whole explainer.
It's a cool visual, right? Data as water. But, what does building the pipes actually mean when we're talking about tech? How does that picture turn into a real job that people do every day? To figure that out, let's jump into our first section, the modern water supply. We're going to get a really solid handle on what this field is all about. Okay, so here's the textbook definition. It's the whole process: collecting, cleaning, transforming, storing, the whole shebang. But what's really key here isn't just shuffling data around. It's about building the automated systems, the architecture that lets that data flow smoothly and reliably to the people who need it. Like data analysts and scientists. They're the ones who use that clean data to make huge business decisions. So why is this job so massively important right now? Well, pretty much every company out there is dealing with the same huge problem. Which brings us right to our next section: a flood of raw data. I mean, just think about your own day. Every time you click on a website, buy something, or even just scroll through an app, you're creating data. Now, multiply that by millions or even billions of users. It's a tidal wave. And all this raw data is messy, it's chaotic, and it's scattered all over the place. By itself, it's pretty much just useless noise. But buried inside all that noise are some incredibly valuable answers. A CEO doesn't care about a billion rows of raw click data. They want to know simple, powerful stuff like this: what product are people actually buying the most? Or let's say they're trying to figure out where to market next. They need to know which city is placing the most orders. To get that answer, you have to pull together information from totally different systems, like your payment processor and your customer database, and make them talk to each other. And what about this one? This is a huge one for any online business. How many people put something in their cart and then just leave? Answering that means you have to track a person's entire journey. Without a really well-organized data system, getting these answers is, well, it's basically impossible. So how do you go from that total data chaos to crystal clear answers? Well, that leads us perfectly into our next part: taming the chaos. This is where the data engineer really steps in and becomes the hero of the story. This breakdown really shows you what the job looks like day to day. First, data engineers pull in data from all those different places we talked about. Then they have to design smart ways to store it. And then, here's where the magic really happens. They clean it up and transform it, turning that messy, raw junk into a clean, structured, and reliable resource. But the ultimate goal, the real masterpiece, is building automated pipelines that do all this work 24/7, so the data is always accurate and ready to go.
Now, you can't do all that with your bare hands, right? You need some seriously powerful tools. So let's pop open the engineer's toolkit and see what's inside.
Okay, first up, the data pipeline. This is it. This is the technical name for the pipes in our water analogy. It's not a physical thing, of course. It's a set of automated rules and processes that grabs data from point A, does stuff to it, and delivers it to point B, all on its own.
And a super common pattern for these pipelines is something called ETL. It sounds technical, but the idea is actually really simple. You extract the data from wherever it lives, you transform it by cleaning it up and getting it into the right format, and then you load it into your main storage system so it's ready to be used. Extract, transform, load. See? Simple.
So where does all this clean data get loaded? Well, often it's one of two places: a data warehouse or a data lake. Think of it like this. A data warehouse over on the left is like a pristine, perfectly organized library. Everything is labeled, structured, and ready for you to find exactly what you need for analysis. A data lake on the right is more like a giant natural reservoir. It holds everything in its original raw form. It's a bit messier, but it gives you tons of flexibility to use that raw water for anything you might dream up later. And these are the power tools that make it all happen. Now, don't worry about memorizing this list. Just think of it this way. SQL is the universal language for talking to data. Python is like the Swiss Army knife you use to write all the custom scripts for cleaning and moving things around. And then you have these heavy-duty platforms, like Apache Spark, which are built to handle just mind-boggling amounts of data. We're talking terabytes, by spreading the work across hundreds of computers at once. Pretty cool stuff.
Okay, I know this might sound a bit intense, but what's great is that the path to actually getting started in this field is surprisingly clear. So let's talk about that in our next section, building your first pipe.
If any of this is sparking your interest, here's a fantastic, simple roadmap. Step 1, you have to learn SQL. It is the absolute foundation for everything. After that, you add Python to your skill set. That gives you the power to automate things. Once you have those two, you learn the fundamentals of how databases actually work. And then finally, you put it all together by understanding those core ETL concepts we talked about. It's a logical, step-by-step path you can actually follow. So, after all this, what's the one thing you should remember? It really all boils down to this single, powerful idea. Data engineering is the crucial behind-the-scenes work of making data useful. It's all about turning that chaotic flood of digital noise into a clean, reliable river of information that a business can use to steer itself in the right direction.
And I think this quote just nails who this job is for. If you're the kind of person who genuinely enjoys solving puzzles, if you like tinkering with code like SQL and Python, and if the idea of designing big, robust systems gets you excited, then this could honestly be one of the most amazing and rewarding careers in tech for you.
Look, the amount of data in the world isn't shrinking, it's exploding. And because of that, the world doesn't just need more data, it desperately needs more skilled architects who can build the pipes to manage it all. So the only real question left is, are you ready to build?